energy in the room. Shall I use the microphone?
Yeah.
Yes. Woo! Woo! Well, I have to start with some thank yous, and I have to thank both Andrea Campbell, and she's the only one I allow to call me Andrea, and Wanelia Rivera for your kind words, for supporting my campaign and my candidacy, for joining this team early on. I am truly grateful to have your support, your advice, and your counsel. So thank you both. Can we give them a round of applause? So yes, my name is Andrea Campbell, and I am here tonight to officially announce my candidacy for Boston City Council District 4. It is with gratitude and a sense of purpose and responsibility that I am seeking to serve the residents of District 4, which includes residents from Dorchester, Mattapan, Rosendale, and Jamaica Plain. Many do not know that before I embarked on this run for City Council, I prayed a lot. I asked for months, what is my God-given purpose? What is my assignment? This campaign is not only a calling in my heart, it is a response to those prayers. I want you to expect more from your district councilor, and I intend to exceed your expectations. I know something about exceeding expectations. I was born and raised in Boston and am proudly educated in all Boston public schools, including Boston Latin School, and I know there's a lot of Boston Latin School people here. When I was 8 months old, my mother passed away. She died in a car accident going to visit my father while he was in prison. I lived without my father for the first 8 years of my life because he was incarcerated. During those first 8 years, I lived with my grandmother, who, although she did the best she could, struggled with alcohol addiction. I was placed in foster care and bounced around from place to place before going to live with a relative. I eventually met my father when he got out of prison when I was 8 years old. I can remember saying back then as a little girl, I'm not going to live with him because he was a complete stranger. But I did go live with my dad, along with my twin brother Andre and my older brother Alvin. This reunification with our father would be the first time that we felt like we were part of a traditional family. We grew up poor, we were on public assistance, and we lived in affordable housing. But despite being poor, I felt so rich because I did not want for anything, and I got to do a lot. I can remember as 10 years old, my older brother and his entrepreneurial endeavors, I would sell candy to college students or shovel snow with him. I had after-school and summer jobs. I had teachers that would buy me clothes. Although my father didn't go to church, I went to church regularly because my Aunt Lois would pick me up every Sunday. These moments and people not only provided me with things and activities, they provided me quiet moments away from home. Growing up with my father was not easy. He tended to be very strict. He was born in Boston in 1933. He was 50 years old when I was born. So I learned really early what it meant to respect your elders. My father's strictness, I think, stemmed from this idea that he had to impart as much knowledge and wisdom on us kids before he sort of left this world. Despite being quote-unquote a criminal, my father always stressed the importance of education. I excelled in school. I graduated at the top of my class at Boston Latin School. I went off and was blessed to go off to Princeton University. And I remember my father feeling tremendous joy when I was accepted to Princeton, because for the first time in his life, he had felt like he had done something right. Because you see, he was actually accepted to Princeton, but decided not to go. For him, it was easier to stay in Boston and support his 6 siblings, being the oldest of 7, rather than being one of the few black people on the campus down at Princeton. My dad didn't let me see to graduate. When I was 19 years old, he suddenly passed away. I was a sophomore. I talked to him that morning. He died that evening. Throughout my life, I have had tremendous loss and hardship. But I've also been extremely fortunate and absolutely blessed to have the support of relatives, friends, teachers, pastors, employers, mentors, who saw in me the potential I eventually came to see in myself. I began my law career in Boston at a nonprofit providing free legal representation to students and their parents in education matters, including special needs cases, school discipline cases. As a public lawyer, I've represented the municipal interests of over 101 cities and towns in Massachusetts. And most recently, I proudly served as Deputy Legal Counsel for Governor Patrick. In reflecting on my tremendous blessings, I often think about my twin brother, Andre, and how different our lives turned out. Andre died 3 years ago. He was 29 years old. He was diagnosed in 2004 with a disease called scleroderma. In 2009, he gets arrested, and I remember saying, "Bro, what about your health?" And my worst nightmare came true. 6 months in, Andre loses 60 pounds. Almost 2 years in, he actually didn't go to trial yet, and the judge said, "I want this kid physically and mentally evaluated to see if he can even withstand a trial." Andre was never evaluated and ultimately died while incarcerated. I share my story, a lot of my story, because my story is our story. And this is why I think I was called to do this work, so that my story would not be the exception. It would now be the norm. I am running because I want each and every resident of District 4 to have a strong foundation from which to thrive. And that means quality schools, great mentors, invested neighbors and small businesses, good jobs, and vibrant church communities. Over the last 5 months, I have listened to you. I have taken notes, and I've reflected on our individual and group conversations. What has been abundantly clear is that we each have a compelling story that involves some loss, pain, or hardship. What has also been clear is that we each have a shared vision about what we want for our community. We want walkable communities. We want quality schools. We want a meaningful relationship with our neighbors, whether they live on the same street or in a different part of the district. We want good jobs that pay a living wage. We want a variety of small businesses that reinvest in the community. We want diverse housing opportunities for our seniors and our most vulnerable populations. We want mentors and those in leadership positions to listen and consistently show up. We want our church communities to continue to have a positive and even more enriching impact on our communities. We want many things, and I might say we actually need those things to ensure that our residents have a chance, just a chance, at achieving their dreams and their God-given potential. This campaign is all about bringing and doing more for District 4. How, you might ask? I'm not going to pretend that I can fix all issues in District 4. I cannot. I am simply a catalyst to re-energize and re-engage our community. So where do we begin? Based on what I heard through the listening series, there are 3 areas where we can begin. We can begin by more efficiently and effectively delivering constituent services. I, not merely staff, and pointing at Katie here, not only need to listen, I need to show up, not merely at election time, but all year round. I pledge to continue to listen. I pledge to continue to listen and to consistently show up at community meetings and neighborhood civic associations, to be available. My card that I hand out includes my personal email and a cell phone that reaches me. But I want to do more than that. In order to bring more into the district in terms of services, I need to hear from stakeholders and residents, those that attend neighborhood meetings and those who are unable to do so. Thus, I pledge to hold quarterly meetings with District 4 stakeholders, including school educators, clergy, small businesses, and our seniors. That is, 4 times a year, I will meet with these groups separately, and we will actually talk about how do we more efficiently and effectively deliver constituent services. But it's also an opportunity for me to brainstorm with them about resources and partnerships that exist within the district, but also outside the district, so that they have access to those resources. For example, you can imagine a meeting with school educators, or organizations or foundations show up at those meetings to talk about millions of dollars that they want to invest in that individual school in District 4. We can do that. We pledge in this campaign to begin compiling a centralized resource bank. I've heard parents talk about the difficulty in finding affordable summer programs, or women-owned or minority-owned businesses labor opportunities, or parents or grandparents or guardians, advocacy organizations to assist them in their IEP meetings. We can begin to maintain an updated resource bank for our residents to meet some of those needs. We pledge to deliver information to our residents about upcoming projects, development, and other community-related projects early, not merely via Twitter, Facebook, or a website, but via telephone and hand delivery, especially for those projects that significantly affect a particular neighborhood. But this leads me to number 2. In order to do all this, to bring more into District 4, we need to increase our level of involvement, our civic and voter engagement. It's one thing to have me show up pushing for more. It's another thing to have 10,000 District 4 residents show up. We have almost 65,000 residents living in District 4. Over 40,000 are at voting age. Over 20,000 are registered to vote. And what do I need to win this election? A few thousand votes. I'm not okay with that. We pledge to do more to engage our district residents, from seniors to the young, more of our district from the southern part of the district to the northern part of the district, from the homeless to the formerly incarcerated. And lastly, this campaign calls on us to bring our attention and our focus not on where we are, but where we want to go. We are District 4, and this is our story, and we are our own future. Let's aim for where we want to go versus where we are. Why can't District 4 be the most responsive and deliver the best services in the city of Boston? Yeah. Why can't District 4 be the highest voter turnout in the city of Boston? Why can't District 4 be the highest performing school district in the city of Boston? Yeah. When I started this campaign, I told each and every one of you I wanted to listen to you. I wanted to capture your ideas and use them and do something with them. I want you to feel like a valued partner in government. It would be my honor to serve you as your next district city councilor. I'm here to ask for your support, your volunteer efforts, all the man hours and woman hours you can give, your financial support and generosity, and your vote. Thank you for being here tonight. Hold up. Because I started with a couple of thank yous, I have to end with a few more thank yous. I have to thank my family who has gone on this journey with me. My Aunt Lois that I referred to is my mom. I call her as such. She was the one who told me to pray not for a job, but for my assignment and my God-given purpose. I would not be here without her, without my little brother Xavier, without my older brother Alvin, without my fiance Matt, who is my partner in crime, without my wonderful friends. I'm looking at over here. All my wonderful friends and Ellie. Without my Katie, yes, I call her my Katie because she is my Katie. She's my campaign manager. Without the interns, the volunteers behind the scenes that help put this event together. And lastly, but most importantly, all of you. Thank you for embarking on this journey.